Hello and welcome back to another video of IEL tips and tricks, and today we are going to do a guide on the Maiasaura. Are you a bit large in the gut area but still think you could beat a running back in a foot race? Do you also like all-terrain vehicles and the idea of parenthood? Well, I have a creature for you today. I'm going to teach you how to play Maia correctly. Maia's stats are very peculiar because it doesn't match the description of all other large herbivores. Sure, Diablo and Stego can run very fast, but 3.8 tons running nearly 47 kilometers an hour. Maia is a tank with, accelerated wheels, monster truck wheels. It can move incredibly fast for its bulk, and you need to use that to your advantage when you play it. Maia has two stances, the quadrupedal and bipedal stances, which you can refer to as fight or flight stances for simplicity. They both have very unique purposes depending on how they can be used in combat or avoiding combat. As a Maia player, you should be most comfortable in the quadrupedal stance just because it is more equipped and better suited to fighting and surviving close quarters encounters, especially with things like raptors, carnos, things that require you to make very precise movements, dodge, and have very powerful attacks. Stance is also much better than the bipedal stance because it has a much better turn radius. Alt attacks are much faster and deal considerably more damage. And the speed of acceleration in the quadrupedal stance is also much better than bipedal. Really, Maia is all about acceleration because you need to be able to manage when you can run and when to stop and slow down and actually take your time in a fight. Things like Diablo and Stego have the virtue of very high punishing attacks like the tail swing or the gore, but Maia really doesn't have that unless you can use the stomp and shove properly. The bipedal stance is the flight stance for Maia because it's much faster than quadrupedal stance. But it does come at a cost. Maia takes 9 seconds to get to full velocity when moving in a straight line. You can't really turn in the bipedal sense. You should not be using that for fighting. If you're in a fight and turning poorly, you need to switch over to quadrupedal immediately. As you can see in some of the videos that I show on screen, I am very careful with how I swap to the bipedal stance because really its main purpose is to run from things. You aren't going to be fighting stuff unless you're chasing them down or chasing them off. Like if, let's say I'm defending a nest and there's a Serrato maybe 20-30 feet from me. If I wanted to close distance, of course I would use bipedal stance. If I can get the jump on him, of course. But if he's coming to me, I want to be in quad stance so that I can adequately defend myself, my nest, and make complex adjustable movements so that I can hit alt attacks, I can hit stomps, I can change and hit a shove and then stomp. But ultimately I really just do want to be in the quadrupedal stance, especially when fighting. And even if you don't see a threat, it's much better to start out in the quadrupedal stance than to be in bipedal all the time. This isn't to downplay the strengths of the bipedal stance. The bipedal stance has Maya's greatest ability. It has the ability to shove and body slam. The body slam and shove are going to make Maya, or make or break your playing ability as Maya. Because if you are unable to properly hit a slam stomp combo, you're not going to be dealing more than 50 damage at a time, and that's just not able to kill anything. Nesting is a bigger part of Maya gameplay than most people realize. Maya is a very good herd animal. It relies on herds, I would say, for a lot of its survival. Things again like Serrato, Omni, Carno. On your own, you have a decent shot at beating them, but as soon as you add another Maya into the equation, it makes you twice as deadly and twice as less likely to die by these creatures. And Maya is one of the strongest nesters because while being at its large size, it also produces 8 eggs. That's 8 more Mayas that want to play Maya and want to grow with you. And they're going to be substantially stronger than you because of the mutations that you give them. As you'll see in some clips, my water goes down faster than my food while feeding the baby Mayas. This is because Maya is uniquely adapted to having nests and having lots of kids. Maya's nutrition and food goes down the least out of every creature, I believe, while feeding chicks. So the really only thing you have to worry about as playing Maya is having an adequate water source nearby, because Maya chicks and hatchlings put on a lot more weight and can grow a lot faster. Because parents are able to stay at the nest more and they don't have to go out for food. Lastly, I want to go over some secret tips I've gained while playing Maya. If you're ever drinking in a sketchy area, like if you can see something approaching, always drink in the quadrupedal stance. This just allows you to have better acceleration and allows you to quickly move away from predators and react to a situation than what bipedal would allow you to do. And that saved me many times. Maya's stun is also practically universal. It can be used while walking, running, while standing in mud, and even mid-air. If you're jumping off a cliff or a hill as Maya, you can stun while you're in mid-air. And so, while it's not really useful, you can certainly, do something stupid, especially with enlarged meniscus. If you can survive that fall, I would think Packy is, I believe, Maya's greatest ally in most situations because it perfectly covers each other's bases. Maya is kind of the opposite. Packy is kind of slippery, and it relies on completely shutting down its enemy's abilities. Personally, to understand it, I would say that Maya is a lover, not a fighter. You should really be making alliances, especially with other herbivores, but more importantly, you need to be able to work in conjunction with other Mayas. Because the greatest strength to Maya, if you've seen any of the horde testing videos or any clips, the greatest thing you can do as Maya is when somebody knocks over a carnivore, let's say a Maya body slams a Cerato. If even three Mayas condense together and stomp, that Cerato can't move out of that. It's getting stun locked and it's getting stomped to death. That's why Maya on its own is a very, very delicate target because it's meant to be a herd animal. Even one or two other Mayas drastically increases your survival chance. As with most creatures, yes, it does, but Maya is particularly vulnerable on its own just because it requires a little bit of not thinking on the carnivore's part. Let's put this into a perspective. Um, if Maya is on its own, it can be focus fire, just pinned against the wall. But if there's two Mayas, one of them runs off into the bushes, and the other one's still fighting out in the open, those carnivores are going to be constantly suspecting in the back of their mind that that Maya from before is going to come back, slam them, and then they're both going to stumble his head. It's a lot of like, I know I might be digging into this too much, but Maya has psychological aspects to it because good players are going to think, what if he isn't alone? What if he knows what he's doing? And that's what you have to make them think. Even if you don't have the skill and you aren't confident in yourself, you need to play a facade as Maya. Maya also has access to a quote stealth stun. So if you basically rapidly click spacebar or control and then hit right mouse button immediately, Maya will immediately stand up and immediately push anything in front of it. I hope you enjoyed. That's all I have currently for today. If there's anything you want me to go over, I'm sure I can make a video about it. Any creatures specifically, and if there's anything I missed, please feel free to leave it down below and subscribe, like. I'll see you next time.